Welcome back to Finger Lakes. Today, Stitch Fix. It's a catchy name for a popular clothing subscription where you can have individualized pieces mailed to your door every month. But not anymore, so it seems. We're going to talk about the rise and fall of Stitch Fix, and for that, we're bringing in Josh Durso and Felicia Dombrowski. I've been working with you for so long. Did I just pronounce your last name correct, Felicia?
You said it correctly.
Okay, thank God.
And it's a Stitch Fix subscriber, right?
I previously
Former
was.
Stitch
Yeah,
Fix
former.
subscriber.
We both are, actually.
Former.
Oh,
So
you
that's
too. So we
interesting.
got
I've
the
done
men and the women's side.
The male perspective as well. So yeah, you said you can currently get this subscription. Yes, you can currently, but I wouldn't bank on that moving forward. So the company is on such thin ice at this point that bankruptcy kind of seems like the likely scenario over the next few months. As you described, you subscribe, they send you a box of clothing, you decide what you like, what you don't like, you pay for what you like, and you keep. Right?
Correct.
It's pretty simple philosophy
Sounds
there.
reasonable.
And in theory, sounds like something that would work really, really, really well.
Right.
Came to rise during the pandemic, and because of basically the way the company was managed during the pandemic, they really leaned into athleisure, because obviously a lot of people working from home, a lot of people wearing casual clothing. When people started to go back to work, all of that stock that they were sitting on, because unlike a lot of other companies that can basically produce to demand, they had to order in advance. They were holding on to all this product, and they didn't have a place to sell it because unlike a lot of other retailers like this, you couldn't go on to Stitch Fix's website and actually buy the things that they had extra of. It was bad. Bad news all the way around. So now the company kind of looks like it's on its way out. But I wanted to talk about subscription services because I think we all have probably more than we even realize, right?
Yeah.
Subscription services.
Well, and it's just growing.
Yeah.
I mean, the options available to you, whether it's for food services, clothes services. I had a par 3 box golf subscription, which I didn't like very much at all. I had to cancel it after a few months. But
So that, if you look on social media, is the big knock on Stitch Fix. Now, Felicia, let's start with you because the company started with women's clothing, and then afterward, as they started to try and figure out how to make money, they moved into men's unsuccessful.
Right.
There were a few of us who did it, obviously, but not very many. What was your experience like? It was in the earlier days, right?
Yeah, so this was really like in the beginning stages of Stitch Fix, ultimately when they first, came out. So I saw it and I was like, this was when I was working in an office environment where I had to dress up every day. And, as a woman, you kind of get into this trend where you're buying the same things over and over.
Yep.
You're sick of your work clothes. You want to try something different, but do you want to try something different? So for me, the reason I did this was a way to kind of explore different styles and fashion that maybe I wouldn't pick up off of the shelf, going to the store or shopping online. So at first I really liked it. I wasn't obviously buying all of the pieces, but I was getting a few different types of pants or shirts. And then I kind of noticed that it was the same types of things. So I would go and try to change. Okay, you've sent me multiple sweaters every time. So now I would different shirts. And
do they have a personal style?
So it's all basically technology based, which is, you take a survey and then essentially they create your box.
Bad technology.
And then based
It's not
on the
great
stuff
technology.
that you decide to buy.
Yeah, so they really classified themselves as a tech company because of the, way that they would customize your boxes. But then that kind of you're it's the same as any flaw with a computer. You're getting the same things over and over. So I was looking for more casual at that point because I liked the new work stuff that I was getting. But I'm okay, I also go out outside of work or dress down days. And then I ended up canceling the box because nothing was changing. So now fast forward to literally the past few months, my sister is now doing it. And essentially what we're doing is she's getting the box. If she doesn't like something, she'll bring them to me. And I've gotten a couple pairs of jeans recently that I liked.
But those are jeans that were meant for your sister.
Yes.
So they're not really being successful. They were never successful at
not for an
really-
extended period of time. It's one of those things where you get it, and then at first it's great, and then.
So my issue was, and I'm curious on the women's side how much of this held true. You'd see pictures and kind of like rough descriptions of what you were going to be getting, or what you could potentially get, because you really didn't ever know. And I would say it was like a less than 50-50 shot.
Oh yeah,
That-
of course.
that
Like
things actually fit and felt and looked the way
yeah,
it was described.
portrayed. Yeah, the advertisements were fantastic. I mean, you would see these outfits and you're like, I would
yes.
wear that.
Yeah.
Like that looks amazing. And then you would get your box and you're like, well, that's not really.
Were they premium brands?
So they
No.
were all actually, when in my experience, they were all in-house brands.
Yeah.
So Stitch Fix was essentially running its own private label kind of situation.
Yeah.
Now the funny thing is, looking at where they are now, I've been seeing, I think because I've been following them a little bit more closely. You see their ads on social media, and their ads are getting like no engagement whatsoever. Like
Yeah, I
I
mean-
came across an Instagram ad that literally had 2 comments on it from Stitch Fix, which, if you think back to the pandemic, a post by that by that company, a sponsored post no less,
Yeah.
having that little engagement's just kind of mind-boggling.
Yeah, I mean, let's look at 2023 with the inflation and everything that's happening,
Yeah.
And what is one of the first things as a consumer that you reevaluate if, let's say, you're going on a budget or want to cut things out? You're gonna cut out subscriptions. That's the first thing that I look at.
For products especially, I think that would go before your streaming service subscription.
Yeah, streaming's a little different because who doesn't love, the stream?
Oh,
We gotta-
gosh.
But
So my question then is, what would make it work? Because I had a very, after my experience, I had some pretty specific thoughts on how I think it could have worked and would have worked better. Would it have just been, shaking things up a little bit once in a while in your experience?
yeah, I think, instead of doing that like almost robotic
Yeah.
box, you're actually looking at what people want, and I don't know. I know they ended up, I think that you had said they did end up basically having like a storefront, correct?
Yeah, storefront-ish.
I think they kind of dug themselves in a hole because, they may have started to pick up, things were going great before COVID, and then everyone's like, okay, I'm sitting home in my pajamas all day working from home. So then they got all this athletic wear, and then now you have all this merchandise, and what do you do with it? And the stuff that they had previously purchased probably isn't in trend now.
Why
So-
wouldn't they let you choose what you want and then send you a box and then you send back what you don't want? Like, why does it have to be a surprise?
Yes, I think that one of the subscription boxes that I have, FabFitFun, which is one that I've kept that I love, they essentially give you 5 or 6 different options, and you have like different categories. So your makeup category, your clothes category, and they give you 5 or 6 different options, and you can pick.
Yeah.
And then you also have the option surprise me, pick whatever one of those. But if they did have that option where you can pick the things that you like out of the different styles, that might work.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I kept coming back to was like a Fabletics kind of situation where
I love
like
Fabletics.
you join, you're a member, and it's a subscription, but the subscription is, or what they send you could be based on what you're actually getting, and a more tailored, drill down of what you specifically want when you want it in the
Or
seasons when
you don't
want
even
it.
have to do what they pick for you with
Yeah.
Fabletics. You can say, I need a new pair of high-waisted black leggings, and go in, and that's what you can pick for that month.
Yeah. Well, when you think about, Jim, when you think about your the golf box that you were getting, what was the main thing that made you say, was it literally just not what you?
It's almost immediately. It was like, oh, par 3 box. It was pretty cheap, and this was probably 5 or 6 years ago at least. One of the first subscription boxes that I'd ever really heard of. And they would send you things and then you're supposed to be able to get shoes sometimes, shirts, and 3 boxes in a row. I get like a Puma golf shirt that I would never have bought for myself,
Yeah.
and like a ball mark repair tool, and it's like, this is garbage. I just felt like it was garbage, and you didn't have the option to send it back. You got what you got.
Oh,
And it was so I think I went 3 months and was like, enough of this.
The quality was also something that I noticed with Stitch
Ooh.
Fix. That
Yeah.
was a little.
I have something
sketchy.
to pipe in about that. So the reason I deleted, I'm going to take my glasses off for this, it's very serious. So the reason I didn't like it was there's 2. I washed a shirt and it started to fray. Like the quality of the clothes was just terrible, like to the point where I was like, what, this is, I'm clipping off things and trying to tie things. So that's obviously them doing things on the cheap. And I'm the type of person where I will spend more money on a single piece that I will care for and like make sure
Quality
that if
over
I,
quantity.
right, quality over quantity, Felicia. Yes. And so like when I'm washing it, I'll wash it on gentle. I air dry a ton of my clothes because, and I gave that same care to these clothes. And even with me caring for the clothes the way that I do, which for me is kind of like therapeutic and I love to do it, they were still falling apart. So for me, the quality, it was like no bueno. You know, you can't, if I'm buying something and paying this much, it's got to at least be something that's going to stick around for a while. And then when it comes to returning things, I'm really bad about that. So like if I didn't like something, I would keep it because I'm just one of those types of people where like putting something in a box and going to a FedEx store seems like it gives me a tremendous amount of anxiety. Like I can't.
And you don't have a very large window, right? You only have about 2 days.
Exactly. So for me, that just gives me, I'm already not like the most zen person. So like when you put that on me, that okay, now you're in a rush to go run to FedEx, box this stuff up, pay for I mean, I didn't really even know how it worked because like I said, I'm lazy in that sense because I just kind of block that out. So for me, it was the quality was terrible and I didn't like returning things. So I agree, Josh. Please go ahead.
The other thing is if there's not a great value there, like if there's not a lot of cost savings, then why wouldn't you just go pick out exactly what you want?
Yeah, so like one of the things that I know, like the consumer group that they were targeting were people that don't like to shop, people that don't enjoy shopping.
Nate Sharman. I know he's watching. He's not in the room right now, but Nate Sharman.
Yeah,
that's
so
who
but
they were
you
targeting.
also have to think, if that's, how what you're gonna target. Somebody who doesn't like to shop isn't gonna like to continue to do that either.
Right. It's
You know what I
almost
mean?
It's a
You should be-
process in itself.
It becomes an inconvenience too if like, they're
Correct.
not hitting the mark and sending you stuff that you
Constantly
don't like.
sending stuff back.
It's not, and that's the other thing too. Like, it's kind of wild that this thing even took off in the first place because it took off during the pandemic when people had more time than ever before
Malls were closed.
to sit and shop online wherever they wanted to shop.
And they wanted that thrill. Sorry to interject, Josh, but like when things were so bleak and it was so depressing and you were stuck at home, you want the thrill of something exciting showing up at your door. It's like the highlight of your month,
Yeah.
for me.
And
like
I think that's the key. So going back to the golf subscription par 3 box, I'd get the box. I'd be like, boom, let's see what I got
Yeah.
here. And instant disappointment.
Yeah, you can't be
Instant
disappointed.
No, you
disappointment.
can't be
you can't be
disappointed. That's why
disappointed.
FabFitFun is one. It's not a cheap box, but I love to do it because there's always great quality things in there.
Okay, and also another point to that, kind of on that side of things, once a month is too long to have to wait.
FabFitFun is
for,
seasonal.
Like, if you miss, because like if you get 2 bad ones in a row, you're
Oh, no.
basically waiting an entire quarter to get something that you like. Like, if your customer hasn't canceled at that point, they're going to cancel within that next 30 days.
Mm-hmm.
So like, it almost should be like the boxes should have been, half as much stuff and send them twice a month.
Yeah.
Obviously,
I
they
think-
probably would have screwed up their model too. But yeah, it's just once a month, the way they did it just clearly wasn't right.
I like to wait till there's like, for the brands I like to shop for, I usually won't think about it. Then I'll get an email, hey, we're doing this clearance sale, or we're doing this end of year sale, or whatever it is, and then I'll go in and like buy like 3 things. I like getting the nice bargain from this, finding something from a brand I like while it's discounted and
quality brand that
Yeah.
will last you. Yeah.
So and you can do that online or any website for any clothing provider always has the clearance section or the sale section, and you can usually find something in there.
Okay, so my last question for everybody here is, in the world of subscription services, what's one thing that isn't a subscription service that you've thought to yourself before, God, this could be great, this could work? I'll go first. Everybody knows I drive like 110 miles a day to and from here. If gas service could be a subscription service where someone actually comes and fills your tank for you,
Wow.
NASCAR style, Paul Russo, NASCAR style. That way, while you're at work, wherever you might be, instead of having to go to the gas station,
This is like a
fit it
Shark
into
Tank
your
thing.
schedule, I don't know how the math would
But
work.
would you be willing to pay probably what would be at least 25% more for your gas to have that? Because I mean, they got rid of the fuel station attendants. People used to pull up and someone would pump the gas for you.
It's funny you say that because there is a place in Pittsford that I will occasionally
I
on the
know
way
what you're
home from the
talking
gym
about, yeah.
go to because they have 2 pumps that are full service.
And
There's one in
and how
Iran.
much
So
worth
It
that?
is. It is more expensive.
There's one in Irondequoit,
It's
too.
probably like I think maybe 20 cents more per 25 cents more per gallon
Convenience.
Especially in the
than traditional.
winter.
But in the winter, exactly in the winter, you know, when it's like this or cold or you know, you just don't feel like it. I think it's something that people would be willing to pay a premium for, and that's really what like subservices are all about, right? Like something that you're willing to pay a premium for. So I don't know, like
For the convenience, you're paying for the convenience.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that is an interesting thought. I don't know how the logistics would work. You'd have probably need a big tanker truck driving around the neighborhood.
probably.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Any other ideas? Something that I mean, we all probably have like a car wash subservice, right? Where we
Yeah.
get our car wash or can get as many car washes as you want a
Yeah, I
month.
love
I'm
it.
trying to
That's
think
great.
of all the things that I like consume on a daily basis. I mean, coffee and espresso are like my 2. Is there
a coffee
K-cup.
subscription
is
service
that
would be
already
very
a
interesting.
thing?
I haven't seen it.
Yes,
but
I guess probably. Yeah, I
I'm
guess
sure that there
probably.
is.
Well,
but
you know, what's the
not one
difference
that's
between that
promoted
and
heavily that I know
Instacart?
about. What?
Yeah, it kind of
I
is
love
the same. It's
Instacart.
kind of
I'm a
Instacart.
I mean,
big fan.
obviously Instacart.
But what
is
if
Love
my
it.
jam?
what if Dunkin' rolled out or Starbucks rolled out a subservice where you could more conveniently than going through the drive-through or using your phone, you could more conveniently like program your coffee experience every day. Most people just get the same cup of coffee every day. Maybe your subservice could give you exactly the time when you're going to be picking it up. Create more of a pre-order situation for the business and, you know, prevent Jim, you've had some legendary wait times in
Yeah, I
Dunkin'
mean, I use the
drive-thrus.
app so I can pre-order and go in for coffee. But I think the food stuff is really something that can stick because if you look at it, the amount of money you spend at a grocery store per meal based on what comes in those boxes. So I think that's
Yeah.
something that has staying power.
I will say, because I have probably tried every food box subscription that you could think of. I mean, literally all of the above.
I feel like I'm going to agree with you
The
on this.
quality, like I got a zucchini the other day. I tried home something. I forget what it was. It was an ad. It was like, $80 off your first box, but really it's not because they divide that over several boxes. But I had a zucchini in my fridge and I got a zucchini that was part of the meal that I was making. And the zucchini from the box was literally like this big around. And this, like, it was miniature compared to what I got at the grocery store. So for me, the quality, I never stick with those because it just is so bad. It really is. The
the
meat's
quality
weird.
needs to be good, and if it's not, I've never gotten the food subscription services, but more often than not lately, I've been looking at like the cost of it, and then I know what I spend when I go to
Yeah.
the grocery store.
Fair.
And so I think that's the most important thing. Well, you need the quality,
Yeah.
and then you need it to be a value. And
Yeah.
when those two things come together, so we golf. We use golf balls. I use the same brand every time, Titleist Pro V.
Yep.
Generally, in the past few years, I've been ordering them like around February for the season. I'll order 4 dozen boxes of Titleist Pro V. But it would be cool if, like, I estimated how many balls I use per month, and like every month it just showed up,
Yeah.
at my doorstep. Maybe personalized. Maybe that would be part of it too. That might be something I'd be interested in. But again, if it costs exactly the same, then what's the convenience? I mean,
The convenience is like finding something that you don't have to think about anymore.
Yeah.
To eliminate
Yes.
the need of having to.
what about the stress of, and this happens to me too, with all the streaming services and everything. Sometimes I'm just sitting there and like, what the heck is going on in my life? Like, there's all these charges, monthly charges, reoccurring, and
It's
now
so
I'm going to add
hard.
one more. I'm going to add another one.
Yeah,
and then I'm
it's
gonna
so
forget
hard
That's
to
about
what
it.
I'm
keep track of
saying.
them.
Like,
Yeah.
especially now with, inflation and the cost of everything. That's one of the first things you're going to try to condense. Like, I know Tyler and I both have like a Hulu account, or you know what I mean? Like, those are the things that you're looking at. And now you're not going to be able to share passwords.
On Netflix. Netflix is cracking down
Sure, everybody
on
else is
password
gonna-
sharing. Yeah.
Join on to that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
well,
yeah.
they should. I mean, it sucks as a consumer, but honestly, that's stealing. If they're
Yeah.
selling this for this amount for one person and 10 people are using it,
Yeah.
so
There's a limit, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you know, there's a limit to what can be subscribed.
I
to.
think office environment subscription services can work too. So you need paper, you need stamps, you need pens, you need folders.
Yeah. Amazon does have recurring deliveries.
Yeah.
And then they're discounted. The
Staples
pricing is
has programs as well that are similar to
Yeah.
that. So
Well, first of all, Josh's idea, I think you need to go to Shark Tank with that.
Which
'Cause
one?
Did
The
you know
gas
that the
delivery?
Stitch Fix CEO was on Shark Tank?
I did not
Yeah.
know that.
did he make a deal?
I can't remember. I just remember she was on it
I
because
don't
I love
believe
Shark
so.
Tank. And then I started
Shark
reading about Stitch Fix and I was like, wow,
Yeah.
So that's how you first became aware of it.
no.
You knew about it before Shark Tank?
She was a judge on Shark Tank.
Oh, gotcha.
Oh.
Okay, I thought that's how the business was funded.
She
Partly.
was a judge on Shark Tank.
So Josh is going to Shark Tank. That's happening. And then, so for me too,
Better
so
have more than just an idea though at that point, or they'll eat you up.
better have. I know. We're all counting on you, Josh.
I want $50 million for a 5% stake of my gas delivery company.
Yeah,
How
it's
much
t-
business is
That's
you
gonna
do?
be really tough in the age of gas free vehicles and going to electric.
so true.
I think that business is gonna have to
That's a
rise
good
and
one,
take
though.
off in the
Coming
next
to people coming to charge,
Charge.
their car.
Portable charging stations. So
I
Felicia's
was with
got
someone
it.
in the middle of Pennsylvania, and they were like mapping out where they had to stop because of where charging stations are.
Well,
Charging
soon
on the
it's going
go.
to be hydrogen. We're going to bypass electric and go to hydrogen before you know it. Just
and
a little
it'll be
heads up there.
Hydrogen. It'll be hydrogen delivery service, I suppose.
There you go. 2 subscriptions I would love. And I've looked for both of these and had no luck, which is funny to me. A house cleaning subscription. If I could pay a monthly fee to have, bi-weekly, to have someone come to my house and clean it.
They
do
have
the-
that though. You just hire someone directly.
Well, yeah, but I feel like maybe they do. Do they?
I don't know because
I mean,
I'm
you could just
looking-
You
can
could just hire
find-
someone
Yeah, you can
reoccurring.
just hire somebody to clean. But I think the idea being, you don't have to hunt that person down because
Yeah.
depending on where you are,
I want a cleaning lady
geographically-
right now, and I'm like,
More
now
or
I have to
less.
go online, research
And then
it,
you
try
have to
find
trust the
someone.
person. Like that's why these apps like Rover are so great.
Mm-hmm.
My mom actually does Rover. She watches dogs, and they do background checks. So it's like you know that somebody who's watching your dog isn't, if a convicted felon, if that's not something that you are interested
Right.
in having in your house, depending on the person. But like I think having people vetted, and then you can just takes all the guesswork out of it, and you can just subscribe to something, and if you got any kind of a discount, and just having someone come and do the laundry and the floors, that for me would be like the best quality of life shift that I feel like I can make. Another one is a candle subscription. I've looked for because I go through candles like nobody's business.
That's interesting.
They're all so expensive, and you only get like 3 candles a month.
Candle Day.
Why can't we have a good candle subscription?
I
where you get
don't know why-
good-
I don't know why
because
Yankee
you
Candle doesn't do that.
Yeah.
You can try different scents,
Yeah.
Yeah.
without having to pick it out
And if you
yourself.
don't like it, send it back.
Well, you would send it back.
I think
I'm
the
too
send it
lazy.
back,
Let's
send it
be
back
serious.
part has got to be tough on these business models for these subscriptions. It's tough enough to get the product and deliver it at a rate that's of value, but then to also have to pay for the return shipping, it's got to be.
And how do you, after you get that candle back, if you're the company, how do you you'd have to melt it down and like go through the whole production
Well, I feel like you
process
can't burn
again?
it.
Yeah, well, if you
You
send
smell
it
it
back,
and
it's
decide
gotta
if you
be
like it. You can't
unopened.
light it.
Okay.
Oh, you can't light it. There's the cat.
That's a smart catch then.
There's wine subscription services.
That
I've
makes
seen.
complete sense to me because there's too many there's too
There's
many
so
wines in the
many.
world to be able to really like as a person get out there and really try to dabble in everything.
In the back end of all these subscription services, the thing that makes them work is they get to buy in bulk. So if you're a wine, you're sourcing wines that you can get in bulk and at a discount from certain wineries or distributors, and then that's how you're going to make your money. You need to buy the product cheaper than you're selling it for if the business is going to work, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Well, I mean, very good conversation. I feel like everybody brought something
Okay.
so unique to the table.
Maybe a couple business ideas here.
Maybe yeah. Don't take Josh's idea, because I'm like I said, I'm counting on him now to go to Shark Tank. I'm gonna make your promotional video and we'll send it to them. We'll do that today. It's like we don't have anything else to do. I'm gonna make a promotional video for Josh.